In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a client account in Iris Insight and how to link it to their KashFlow bookkeeping software. Once in Iris Insight, the first thing you need to check is that the settings between KashFlow Connect and Iris Insight have been set up correctly. To do this, click on the Settings tab at the top of the page. Once in the Settings menu, just click on the Iris KashFlow settings. In here, all you need to do is enter the username and password for your KashFlow Connect login. Once that's been entered, just click the Connect button on the right hand side and you'll get a message that will display that it's now connected to your KashFlow Connect platform. Once you've entered that information, it will take you back to the Clients tab and it will give you the option to create your first client. To do this, just click the Add New Client button. All you need to enter here is the business name, the location, which will default to the United Kingdom, and the business sector which this business is in. Once you've entered that information, just hit the Save button on the right hand side. Once you've clicked on that, you will have the option to assign users. As the system admin, you will have automatic access to this client's account. For any additional users within the practice who need access, just click on their name. Once you've done that, just hit the Save option. That will now bring you back to the clients page and you will see the client's account has now been created. Once in this list, you'll have an option to set up their integrations. To do this, just click the Edit button. Once in here, you'll have the option to link Iris Insight to their KashFlow account and also to Iris OpenSpace. To do this, for OpenSpace, just click the drop-down box and select the account. And to link it to their KashFlow account, just click the drop-down box and you will see a list of all of your KashFlow Connect KashFlow clients has been pulled through directly into Iris Insight. I'm now going to select Always IT and then select Link. We'll now get a message to say that Always IT has been linked in to KashFlow. Just click the OK button and then click the Cancel button on the right hand side. We will now see that the KashFlow link has actually gone bold and now we know that that's now integrated. Now we continue with setup for this account, we just click on the client name. Within here, we can select users that are going to be using the system. By default, again, it will have the email address for system admin. We can add additional users if we wish to, and when we add an additional user, we just need to hit the next button after that. Once we hit next, it will take us through to our payment terms. When we go through to the payment terms, by default, we have 30 days. These can be changed when you actually import the data into Iris Insight, but you can set up the defaults here if you wish to. I'm going to change this to 7 days for my customers and 28 days for my suppliers. Once I've entered that information, all I do is hit the next button. I can now start entering their VAT information. If they're not VAT registered, then just leave it on the default. But if they are, just click on the Registered button and you'll have the option to enter their VAT information. So we can enter the frequency, whether it be quarterly or monthly reporting. Their VAT period end dates, we can select on here as well. And also which VAT scheme they use, standard, cash, flat rate or cash-based flat rate schemes. If you need to add in any other VAT rates, just click on the Add Tax Rate button and you'll have the option to add in information in here. Once you've filled this in and go to the next screen, it will take you through to staffing. By default, the option is no, but if this company does employ staff, if you hit the Yes option, you'll be able to select their payroll and pension information. You can select when the payroll is paid, whether that be monthly or weekly. Is it on the last day or just pick a specific day within the month and then select if it's the current month or the next month. You select the same details against the pension also. and you can then put in the employee pension contributions and also the employer contributions. Once you've entered this information, just click Next to progress forward. When we come through to the finance system, all we need to do is select KashFlow from the drop-down list. Once we've selected this, just hit the Complete Setup button. You've now got the option to either set information and a forecast from scratch, so you don't have to base it on historical data. But bearing in mind this is linked to my KashFlow account, I am going to pull through some information from the KashFlow data. If I click on this as an option, all I need to do is start setting up my first forecast. All we need to do is enter a forecast name, put in the financial year end. We can put in the forecast start date, so we're going to start it from June 2017. If the client has an overdraft, we can enter an overdraft amount in here, and also the length of the forecast. We can have it as short as 1 month, and the maximum period we can go up to is 3 years. I'm going to set this as a 2-year forecast, and then just hit Next. When it goes through to the KashFlow tab, it will automatically start copying information from KashFlow. If the account was not linked to KashFlow Connect, you would have to then enter the end user's username and password into here, the linked two together. But because you are the administrator for KashFlow Connect and you've entered your details, you will not have to remember your client's login details at any point during this process. We've now got a message here to say it's imported our KashFlow data. At this point, I can just use the default mapping, or I can review the mapping if I wish to. I'm going to review the mapping at this point. We can see here that it's already mapped all of the KashFlow account codes to the relevant codes in Iris Insight. At this point, we do have the option to change any of this mapping, and if you want to change it, just click on the drop-down box and then just select the relevant balance sheet or P&L category you want these amended to. Once you've done that and you're happy with all the relevant mapping, all you do is just hit the Next button. It's now starting creating the categories within Iris Insight. We can now start entering any outstanding balances. We can either use the default dates, which are the dates coming through from KashFlow, or we can edit payment dates if we wish to. If we click on the Edit button, next to each line, you can see the various options. If I go to my trade debtors and hit Edit, we'll now be able to see the various options available. We can choose the default dates, which are the dates I set up when I set up this Iris Insight account. I could use the From External system, which will bring that information directly through from KashFlow. We can also enter no payments expected, or we have the option to enter planned dates. So all we need to do, we can have as many lines as we want just by clicking the Add Line option. We could import information from Excel as well, or we could just put in the description, references, invoice dates and amounts that are due, and the date that you're due to be received, or you can mark for deletion if you wish. So you can enter specific opening balances against trade debtors and creditors directly from here. Once you've set up those terms, all you need to do is just hit the Next button to progress through the setup. We've now got the option to start entering some forecast assumptions. This can either be based on 12 months prior to the forecast date, or you can select the last financial year if you wish to. You can then quickly set a percentage increase across the income and expenditure categories, or if you expand the menus out, you can actually set these percentages against specific categories. I can just say from next year I want a 10% increase, and the following year I want to see a 20% increase. We can then go through the other categories and do some specific increases from here. If we go down to expenditure, we can also just open up these menus again, and we can just set up any forecast assumptions from here. Any information that is entered into here can be amended at any point within the software against a specific category. So once we've entered our forecast assumptions, we just hit the next button on the right hand side. Now that's been set up, we can review cash flow, we can review the profit forecast or run reports. If I click review profit forecast, we can see all of that forecast information has been set up. And if we go to the actuals tab, we can see that it's brought through all of our P&L and balance sheet information directly from our cash flow account, and that we're now ready to start offering the various advisory services that Insight can offer. If you need any more help with linking Iris, Insight and cash flow, then please contact Iris Insight support.